Open your phone's photo gallery. Scroll back to your happiest family moment. Now imagine discovering that on that exact day, those same smiling relatives were plotting your death. This was Samia Shahid's reality. When investigators reconstructed her final months, they found an unthinkable pattern. Each loving family interaction concealed a deadly purpose. This is how a Bradford beauty therapist's fairy tale turned into a nightmare. In early 2016, Samia Shahid's Instagram feed showcased a successful 28-year-old beauty therapist in Bradford. Her thriving salon blended traditional Pakistani bridal makeup with contemporary Western styles, attracting a devoted clientele through word-of-mouth recommendations. Between client transformations and business updates, she shared moments of her life with second husband Syed Mukhtar, weekend trips to the Yorkshire countryside, and quiet evenings that highlighted their deep connection. Her appointment calendar remained consistently full through spring, with high demand for wedding season bookings. Clients booked months in advance, bringing family members and friends to experience her expertise. However, a shift began to surface in family communications from Pakistan. The change started subtly in group chats. Relatives began reaching out more frequently, emphasizing how much her father missed her. By May, these initially warm exchanges had transformed into persistent demands for her return. Most notably, members of her first husband's family, who had previously maintained their distance, joined these conversations with increasing frequency. Syed observed changes in Samia's behavior following these exchanges. While maintaining her professional demeanor at work, she would spend evenings anxiously reviewing messages on her phone. The pressure escalated through June, with relatives now recruiting mutual friends to convince Samia about her family obligations. Social media comments about her Western lifestyle choices became more pointed and frequent. During late-night discussions, Syed pleaded with Samia to distance herself from certain family members, his instincts warning him of danger. Yet even as he voiced these concerns to investigators later, he couldn't have anticipated the calculated plan taking shape. While Samia shared enthusiastic posts about future business plans, her extended family held secret meetings in Pakistan, coordinating actions that would prevent her return to Bradford. Samia's final Instagram posts portrayed a woman confidently planning her salon's future, unaware of the elaborate trap being set. The warning signs lay buried in seemingly innocent family messages, their true meaning only becoming clear after tragedy struck. As investigators would later piece together, every cheerful social media update brought her one step closer to a meticulously orchestrated deception. Those family messages contained sinister undertones that only became clear in hindsight. The story began in 2012, when Samia entered an arranged marriage with her cousin Chaudhry Shakil in Pakistan. Wedding footage captured a traditional celebration, Samia in elaborate bridal attire, surrounded by celebrating family members, though her reserved demeanor hinted at underlying doubts. The marriage deteriorated rapidly. While living together, Samia and Shakil barely spoke, their daily routines becoming entirely separate. According to friends, Shakil insisted she quit her job and remain home, leading to frequent arguments. By 2014, Samia found comfort in conversations with Syed Mukhtar, an old acquaintance. Their relationship grew through late-night messages and careful meetings in Bradford, always away from watchful eyes. In early 2015, Samia requested a divorce. Her father, Mohammed Shahid, made public statements supporting her choice, but surveillance footage later revealed a different story. Family members held multiple meetings in Pakistan, while their communications shifted to encrypted messages and coded language about family honor and necessary cleansing. The investigation uncovered a complex web of phone calls between relatives during late 2015. Family members routed conversations through multiple phones before reaching their intended recipients, a pattern investigators identified as deliberately misleading. Meanwhile, they maintained regular contact with Samia, sending affectionate messages even as they orchestrated their response to her second marriage. As Samia and Syed celebrated their civil ceremony in Leeds, her relatives' private discussions intensified. Previously uninvolved family members suddenly became active participants in group messages. The family's communication evolved from expressions of disapproval to detailed planning sessions, all while maintaining a careful facade of acceptance. Each innocent-seeming message to Samia carried hidden meanings, building toward a tragic conclusion she couldn't have anticipated. Through digital forensics, investigators traced how casual family gatherings transformed into strategy sessions. Phone records revealed increasing contact between key family members, while surveillance footage captured multiple meetings. All this occurred while Samia, focused on building her new life with Syed, remained unaware of the dangerous implications behind her family's seemingly routine messages. While Samia had learned to filter her family's disapproving messages, there was one call she could never ignore: news about her father's health. On July 11th, everything changed with a single phone call that exposed her family's elaborate plan. At 7:23 p.m., as Samia was closing her salon, her cousin Mobeen called with devastating news. He claimed Uncle Mohammed had suffered a severe heart attack and was in critical condition at the local hospital. He insisted Samia needed to come immediately if she wanted to see her father one last time. Samia reacted exactly as her family anticipated. Within minutes, she was arranging emergency travel to Pakistan. Her messages to friends revealed both worry and hope. She believed this crisis might help heal the family rift. "Maybe seeing Dad will make everything better," she wrote to her closest friend that evening. But Syed's instincts warned him something wasn't right. When he called Mohammed Shahid's regular doctor in Pakistan, they had no record of any cardiac event. His attempts to verify which hospital was treating his father-in-law led nowhere. Most troubling was the family's insistence that Samia travel alone, refusing Syed's offers to accompany her. The reality of that evening emerged months later through investigators' findings. Mohammed Shahid was not in any hospital. He was attending a meeting at his brother's house with several male relatives, including Samia's first husband, Shakil. Bank records showed unusual cash withdrawals that morning by 3 family members, totaling typical travel arrangement costs. Evidence revealed the premeditated nature of their scheme. Airline reservations had been made for Samia 5 days before the emergency call, along with hotel bookings near the family home. The timing and location had been precisely arranged to suit their purposes. The family's private communications exposed their true intentions. "The bird is coming to the nest," one uncle wrote after Mobeen's call. Another replied, "Allah has given us our opportunity." These messages, recovered from deleted phone data, showed how they monitored her response and adjusted their approach accordingly. Throughout the evening, different relatives reinforced the deception with carefully coordinated calls about her father's condition. They even arranged for a local doctor to provide just enough medical terminology to sound convincing while remaining vague about specifics. By midnight, Samia had booked her flight to Pakistan, scheduled to depart in 3 days. As she finally fell asleep, exhausted from worry and hasty travel preparations, her family was already advancing their scheme. Bank cameras recorded Shakil withdrawing another large sum of cash, funds that investigators would later connect to the remote location where Samia would spend her final hours. Bank cameras recorded Shakil's midnight withdrawal as July 12th began, revealing the first trace of a calculated plan. Between midnight and dawn, surveillance footage captured 3 separate meetings at Mohammed Shahid's house, with family members arriving at carefully staggered intervals to avoid detection. Samia spent that morning rushing between appointments, personally calling clients to reschedule their bookings. Her messages to friends remained hopeful as she shared pictures of the gifts she was packing for her father: English tea, diabetes-friendly sweets, and a photo album showcasing her salon's success. Security footage tracked her visiting multiple shops, selecting items she believed would help reconnect with her family. In Pakistan, evidence later showed the family's methodical preparations. Bank records revealed strategic purchases: rope from a hardware store, specific medical supplies, and fuel cans filled at a remote station. Each transaction was carefully structured to avoid raising suspicions. On July 13th, Samia focused on organizing her salon paperwork to ensure smooth operations during her absence. Her text messages to Syed captured her mixed emotions about the trip. After photographing her packed suitcase, she visited her local mosque to pray for her father's recovery. That same afternoon, what appeared to be a celebration at Uncle Ahmed's house provided cover for the family's true activities. Cell phone data placed key family members at this location for over 6 hours, with their devices showing suspicious patterns of being switched off during crucial discussions about timing and location details. July 14th, as Samia shared cheerful selfies from Heathrow Airport, surveillance footage captured family members conducting final preparations at an isolated property. Financial records showed strategic cash distributions, while local cameras documented vehicles delivering cleaning supplies and hardware store purchases to this remote location. The investigation uncovered WhatsApp messages that exposed the elaborate deception. While exchanging loving conversations with Samia about her father's condition, family members coordinated their roles through separate message threads. A particularly incriminating message from Shakil to Samia's uncle detailed their final arrangements. A neighbor's security camera provided crucial evidence, recording seemingly routine maintenance activities at the remote property that would later prove significant. The footage showed multiple vehicles arriving with supplies matching the hardware store purchases, each movement precisely timed to establish public alibis while preparing the location. The July 13th gathering, which neighbors observed as a celebration, served as the final planning session. Cell tower data revealed that every key family member remained on site for hours, their phones following specific patterns that investigators would later identify as their protocol for sensitive meetings. Those phone blackouts proved to be just one piece of a larger digital trail that exposed the truth behind Samia's tragic story. At Heathrow, Samia shared an Instagram post showing her smiling with coffee, captioned "Off to see Papa, prayers needed." Her stories that morning documented her journey, from cab rides to a farewell breakfast with Syed, interspersed with travel beauty tips for her followers. She even posted a childhood photo with her father, seemingly hopeful about their reunion. But investigators uncovered a stark reality in the family's private communications. While family members posted heart emojis and well wishes on Samia's updates, their WhatsApp groups revealed sinister preparations. Her uncle, moments after commenting, "Safe journey, dear niece" on Instagram, sent instructions to disable security cameras before her arrival. The family maintained a carefully crafted online presence with religious quotes and routine updates, but their digital footprint betrayed them. Location data placed them at the remote property during crucial times, contradicting their social media alibis. One relative claimed to attend a Lahore wedding while his phone's GPS tracked him buying supplies at a hardware store near the family home. Their browser histories proved particularly damning. Cloud backups revealed searches for heart attack symptoms, undetectable poisons, and honor-killing cases in Pakistan, all while maintaining loving exchanges with Samia. Multiple surveillance accounts, traced to family IP addresses, monitored her business page and personal posts for months. The final WhatsApp exchanges highlighted the calculated nature of their plan. As Samia sent her husband updates about her flight, her relatives discussed strategies to separate her from her phone, disguising it as respect for her father's condition. Each digital breadcrumb, from location data to deleted messages, revealed how meticulously they had planned while maintaining their facade of reconciliation. The moment Samia stepped off that plane, she walked into an elaborate deception. Her family's warm welcome at the airport terminal appeared so genuine that even seasoned detectives, reviewing the footage months later, initially missed the calculated movements hidden within these reunions. Surveillance cameras at Islamabad International Airport captured Samia's arrival at 4:17 a.m. on July 14th. She emerged from customs wearing a traditional blue shalwar kameez, pulling her carry-on bag while scanning the crowd. The footage shows her uncle Ahmed spotting her first, raising both arms in greeting. Female relatives surrounded her with embraces and prayers for her father's recovery. The security footage revealed a precise operation beneath the emotional display. While Samia's aunts embraced her, male relatives positioned themselves around the exits. Uncle Ahmed took possession of her phone, claiming he needed to call her father about their arrival time. Her cousins quickly gathered her luggage, limiting her independent movement through the terminal. A critical moment unfolded near the parking area, captured by airport CCTV. As the family helped Samia into a waiting car, her uncle exchanged brief hand signals with her first husband, Shaquille, who observed from a distance. These gestures matched encrypted messages investigators later discovered from the previous day. Traffic cameras tracked two vehicles leaving the airport, one carrying Samia and her aunts, another with male relatives following behind. While Samia's phone remained off in her uncle's possession, the second vehicle maintained constant communication with family members at their destination. Around 5:30 a.m., a witness at a roadside tea stall observed the convoy's brief stop. The family insisted Samia drink her father's favorite tea before meeting him, a calculated pause that kept her separated from the second vehicle during critical phone calls. By the time they reached the family home, every element of control was established. Security footage shows Samia being guided inside, still expecting to see her ailing father. She carried a gift bag of English tea and sweets, unaware that her father wasn't in any hospital, but waiting to complete the family's coordinated plan. The family maintained their facade through precisely timed interactions. Cousins shared childhood memories while an aunt prepared her father's room, each conversation and prayer circle designed to maintain their control over Samia's movements and communications. The surveillance footage revealed a methodical 5-day transformation within the household after their airport performance. Cultural ceremonies and family gatherings became increasingly controlled environments, with security cameras capturing relatives conducting perimeter checks and testing surveillance blind spots around the family compound. Samia's text messages to friends remained optimistic. "Things feel different this time," she wrote on July 15th. "Everyone's being so loving. Maybe Dad's illness has brought us closer." The reality, captured on security footage, showed a darker purpose behind the family's attentiveness. Female relatives orchestrated lengthy prayer sessions and beauty rituals that restricted Samia to specific areas of the house. When she attempted to contact Syed, they cited traditional protocols about family privacy during times of illness. The family exploited Samia's sense of obligation toward her cultural heritage, with her uncle leading extended family meetings focused on duty and honor. Local shopkeepers observed the family's increasingly insular behavior. Regular food deliveries ceased as relatives maintained constant rotations at the house, patterns that matched recovered phone messages discussing guard duty. The house's internal security system documented family members coordinating through hand signals and coded gestures, monitoring Samia's every movement under the pretense of protective concern. Male relatives enforced movement restrictions by invoking religious customs, while female family members maintained constant companionship. When Samia expressed desire to visit her father in the hospital, they delayed her through appeals to feminine patience and submission. By July 19th, security footage captured her attempting to leave alone, only to be intercepted by aunts insisting on proper escorts. During her final recorded phone conversation with a friend, Samia's unease became apparent. "Something feels off, but I don't know how to explain it without sounding ungrateful. They say everything they're doing is out of love." Evening gatherings became particularly intense, with surveillance audio revealing how relatives wove veiled threats into discussions of family honor, creating an atmosphere of complete control that left no physical evidence of their manipulation. The final 24 hours of Samia's life unfolded through a web of digital evidence and surveillance footage, revealing the calculated precision behind her family's actions. July 20th began with Samia sharing an Instagram story of her morning tea, captioned, "Learning to appreciate the little moments." At that same moment, surveillance footage captured her uncle in his car 2 streets away, making calls to coordinate the day's events. The morning brought an unusual pattern of arrivals at the family compound. Male relatives positioned their vehicles strategically around the neighborhood, while inside, female family members kept Samia engaged with wedding albums and family stories. Her phone records showed repeated attempts to reach Syed, each call interrupted by seemingly urgent family matters. Digital evidence exposed the afternoon's careful orchestration. Samia's smiling selfie with her cousins contrasted sharply with cell tower data, placing her first husband Shaquille at a remote location. Bank records revealed systematic cash withdrawals timed between her social media updates. At 3:17 p.m., Samia sent her final message to Syed. "They're finally taking me to see Papa at the hospital. We'll call you after." Surveillance footage contradicted the family's hospital story, showing her father entering through the back entrance moments before. Her phone went dark 20 minutes later. The evening hours revealed methodical movements through the compound's security cameras. Neighbors' footage documented vehicles departing at calculated intervals, followed by a telling 2-hour communication blackout. Traffic cameras later captured the family's separate returns, coinciding with their gradual reemergence on social media. Samia's last Instagram story stands as evidence of the deception. A photo showing her surrounded by smiling relatives, posted moments before her family executed their plan. The timestamp matched encrypted messages between family members confirming their intentions, transforming what appeared to be a reconciliation into the final act of their deadly scheme. In the hours following Samia's death, her family orchestrated an elaborate performance of grief while systematically removing evidence. They presented a simple explanation. Samia had died from an asthma attack while visiting her ailing father. Local police initially accepted this account, influenced by the family's standing in the community, and death certificates were processed with unusual speed. Syed Mukhtar immediately challenged this version of events. His wife had never mentioned having asthma during their marriage, and the family's pressure for immediate burial raised red flags. He contacted British authorities within hours, prompting an investigation that would unravel the family's carefully constructed narrative. The investigation exposed critical flaws in their story. Hospital records showed no trace of Mohammed Shahid's supposed critical illness. Security footage confirmed he hadn't visited the facility during the claimed treatment period. When investigators questioned family members separately, their coordinated story fractured. Phone records placed key relatives miles from their alleged locations, while recovered text messages revealed discussions about removing security cameras from specific areas. Forensic evidence delivered the decisive breakthrough. Investigators discovered distinctive silk fiber patterns around Samia's neck, matching characteristics found in other honor-killing cases. This physical evidence aligned with a trail of digital breadcrumbs, banking transactions, encrypted messages about arrangements, and surveillance footage showing family members purchasing items that vanished from the compound. The family's sophisticated planning crumbled against modern technology. Their disabled security cameras had automatically backed up to cloud storage, capturing rehearsal sessions that mirrored the sequence of events on the day of Samia's death. Younger relatives, confronted with digital evidence of their involvement, revealed details about planning meetings disguised as family gatherings. Cell tower data corroborated these accounts, mapping group movements that precisely matched the prosecution's timeline. The very digital tools the family used to coordinate their deception became their undoing. Their attempts to establish alibis through social media collapsed when metadata exposed their true locations. Each piece of evidence, from forensics to phone records, systematically dismantled their carefully constructed facade, revealing the tragic truth about how Samia's life had ended. Phone records revealed a disturbing discovery that reached beyond Samia's murder, a network of coordinated honor killings spanning 3 continents. Messages showed families exchanging advice about luring women back to Pakistan, suggesting a systematic pattern rather than an isolated incident. The arrests began in the early hours of August 15th, when Pakistani police simultaneously detained Mohammed Shahid, Chaudhry Shakil, and 3 other male relatives. Their coordinated raids caught the family off guard, preventing any further destruction of evidence. Female family members who had maintained the loving facade during Samia's final days were taken into custody shortly after. Digital forensics formed the backbone of the prosecution's case. Location data showed family members had rehearsed their roles before Samia's arrival. Financial records traced payments between relatives that aligned with key moments in the conspiracy. The recovered WhatsApp messages revealed detailed planning, including instructions for creating social media posts as alibis. The court delivered its verdict with Mohammed Shahid and Chaudhry Shakil receiving life sentences for their primary roles in the murder. 3 other family members were convicted of conspiracy charges, with sentences ranging from 10 to 20 years. The judge emphasized how modern technology had exposed the calculated nature of their actions. The investigation revolutionized the approach to honor-based violence. Police forces across Europe began monitoring specific communication patterns identified in Samia's case: coded language about family honor, sudden increases in contact from distant relatives, and coordinated social media activities designed to mislead authorities. An international task force emerged from the case findings, focusing on prevention through early detection. Their analysis revealed how perpetrators exploit cultural traditions and family obligations to manipulate victims. This understanding has helped authorities identify potential cases before they escalate to violence. Investigators now examine seemingly innocent family interactions for signs of coordination. Banking records, social media activity, and location data undergo thorough analysis, searching for the distinct planning patterns first identified in Samia's case. Her story demonstrated how perpetrators adapted ancient forms of violence to the digital age, but ultimately, these same technologies became tools for justice, ensuring that evidence of these crimes can no longer remain hidden behind family walls. Modern technology played a devastating dual role in Samia's story, serving both as a weapon for her killers and the evidence that exposed their crimes. Her relatives left behind a comprehensive digital trail through their seemingly caring messages, staged photos, and coordinated communications that ultimately revealed their calculated deception. The case fundamentally changed how law enforcement approaches honor killings in today's connected world. Investigators discovered these crimes often involve extensive digital planning and coordination across borders, rather than spontaneous acts of cultural passion. This has led police to develop new protocols for monitoring specific patterns in family communications, financial records, and social media that may signal imminent danger. Samia's tragic end highlighted how the warning signs of honor-based violence have transformed in the digital age. Beyond traditional red flags, potential victims now face sophisticated forms of online surveillance and manipulation. From constant family monitoring through social media to coordinated pressure campaigns involving multiple relatives. Understanding these evolved methods of deception has become crucial for protecting vulnerable women and preventing similar tragedies.